Yo, what is going on guys, Flashverse here and welcome back to another video on The Flash Season 7, and this will be my synopsis breakdown for The Flash Season 7 episode 10 titled Family Matters Part 1, in which, as you guys can tell, this is the penultimate episode for graphic novel number 3, and it is also a two-parter episode as well, so episode 10 obviously being part 1 and episode 11 being part 2. And yeah, the synopsis does tease some pretty interesting storylines for this episode, but also we do have something to go over in regards to a few characters potentially leaving the show by the end of the season, if not midway into the season, and I'll get to that later. Yeah, there are some major Team Flash members. So yeah, we are just under a week away for the Flash to return with episode 8, where we will be continuing with the Force's storyline. We should end up getting a main villain reveal by the end of episode 8, as we are midway into this graphic novel. Yeah, through the synopsis for episode 8, it does mention that Barry will be making a shocking discovery about the Speed Force, and also with episode 9, it does say that Barry will be experiencing this devastating betrayal. As you guys know, I had this theory since episode 6, saying that I think that the Speed Force will end up becoming our main villain for this Force's storyline. Will it end up becoming true? Who knows? But yeah, just a few hours ago we got the synopsis revealed for episode 10 for the season, which I will be breaking down as I give you guys my overall thoughts and theories to what I think could happen. But also, as I said during the end of the video, we do have this section of an interview to break down, and this was from Hobby Consoles, who has done this interview with Danielle Panabaker. And yeah, it has a lot of people talking, so I just wanted to clear the air as people are misinterpreting what she said. But before I go over anything, however, you guys don't forget to drop a like on the video and subscribe to the channel so you are aware of more Arrowverse content coming your way. Okay, so the synopsis goes as followed. Psyche threatens Iris. Iris is pushed to the limit as she seeks to uncover the mysterious truth about Psyche. Meanwhile, Barry initiates a new training system that could potentially backfire with devastating consequences. Joe and Cisco make life-altering decisions. So yeah, this is a very interesting synopsis, and obviously, as I said before, this is a two-parter episode, so I'm expecting us to leave off with some sort of cliffhanger which will be resolved during the second part or the finale for the episode. But this synopsis in general does have some pretty interesting storylines for our characters, so yeah, let's just go into this breakdown. So the first line of the synopsis goes as followed. Psyche threatens Iris. Iris is pushed to the limit as she seeks to uncover the mysterious truth about Psyche. So I find the storyline very interesting. First things first, Iris is back to her reporter stuff and her investigation stuff, and by the looks of it, she is on the hunt to uncover some sort of truth about Psyche. Now it will be interesting to see how Iris encounters Psyche in the first place and why she's determined into approaching him. I would guess it has something to do with the events of episode 8 and maybe episode 9, where we find out that the Speed Force has done something to the other forces, and to get through to him and potentially end up joining Team Flash to help take down the Speed Force, she tries to find out Psyche's secret identity or something along those lines. We do know that Psyche is back for this episode, that being episode 10, which is great. He is my favorite Force user out of all of them. And we do know that all three of the Forces will be in the finale for this storyline. So episode 8 seems to be dedicated to Fuerza, judging from the new news we literally just got. By the moment I just picked up this mic, they just dropped that news. So it's coming from TV Line, and I'll get to that in a second. But it seems like she will be a villain during episode 8, and then until episode 9, she will slowly, like, redeem herself, and then maybe Barry will end up recruiting her, and then we will have like episode 10 being dedicated to Psyche, as it seems from the synopsis, and then maybe some of the finale or a portion of the finale will be dedicated to Dion joining the Force team, and then this whole storyline being wrapped up with Psyche, Forza, Dion, and the Flash facing off the Speed Force. So yeah, as I said, we did literally have this news drop right now, and this is a statement from Eric Wilson coming from TV Line, and he says, after the discovery of the three mysterious new forces, it took everything Team Flash had to keep each new adversary at bay, notes showrunner Eric Wallace, but with the Strength, Still, and Sage forces now threatening to form an unholy alliance, the growing crisis will push Barry, Iris, and the rest of the Team Flash to brink as they attempt to save humanity from their biggest threat so far. So by the looks of it over here, it does actually seem like all the forces will team up with Barry, and this threat they will be facing up against seems to be the Speed Force, or whoever it really ends up being if it isn't the Speed Force and she becomes revealed as something much more threatening. And we do also get this news about Fore appearing for episode 8 as well, and this is a photo of her in her human form, but the description goes as followed. Her debut in the CW series Tuesday, May 4th episode as Alexa Rivera, a social aid health worker who is working hard to overcome a dark past as she helps the underprivileged in Central City. But when Alexa uncovers a mysterious connection to the all-powerful Strength Force, she becomes Team Flash's most dangerous threat yet, and that's put into quotes. Now, although Fore would seem like a threat, the fact that the human form is doing some good either seems like it's some sort of a Hulk situation where Alexa is out of control when she becomes Fore, or it could simply be that she is in control but she was a villain before, but she's doing it for some good, like being an anti-hero pretty much, and then she ends up helping Barry or something along those lines later on. But going back to the synopsis, meanwhile Barry initiates a new training system that could potentially backfire with devastating consequences. So this next part of the synopsis is quite interesting, and I do have a theory about this. So we do know that for episode 9, the Speed Force will betray Team Flash and possibly reveal herself as the main villain by the end of episode 8. And then for episode 9, we also have Timeless Wells returning, and the fact that Wells' powers are also like, time related does seem like he also has the Still Force within him. So maybe what Barry is trying to do is that he is trying to use the Still Force to see how he could potentially weaken the Speed Force and slow her down, because she is much faster than Barry since she is the Speed Force itself. And the devastating consequence could be that he could become powerless or maybe even die if something goes wrong. And the reason I'm saying Still Force is because, the Still Force is technically the opposite of the Speed Force, so it could basically cancel each other out. So maybe Barry's plan is to use the Still Force against the Speed Force, who knows. But lastly, in the synopsis, Joe and Cisco make life-altering decisions. Now, before I actually break this down, I do also want to go over this interview which was done with Danielle Panabaker, because they do kind of link together. So yeah, Danielle Panabaker did this interview with, as I said during the start of this video, Hobby Consoles. I will link the whole interview in the description down below, and you will have to Google Translate it because it's in Portuguese at first. But I will only be focusing on one section. So the question is, The Flash has now 7 seasons and is on the way to an 8th. Arrow ended in season 8. Can we be waiting for the end of the Barry Allen series? And Danielle Panabaker replies, "It's not me who makes those kinds of decisions, but I'll just say that the end will probably be sooner than we think, at least for some of us who have been here so long. It's been an incredible and amazing career, but I know people are already starting to think about what the next job might be." Now with this, Danielle isn't talking about the show ending. So many people are thinking Danielle is talking about the show ending, but the show is not ending. Danielle isn't talking about the show ending because Grant is still staying and will probably stay for 2 or 3 more years, so nothing is happening to this show. However, what she is trying to say over here is that the same doesn't apply to other cast members, because we do know that all of the cast members have 7-year contracts. So this is the season where all of their contracts are up, besides the ones who have renewed their contracts. And at the moment, the ones who are staying beyond season 7 are Barry, Iris, Chester, and Allegra. Now, because this interview was done with Danielle, you would assume she will be leaving by the end of the season as well, but I doubt it. Firstly, she doesn't even put herself into the mix when she says, "I know a couple of people who are starting to think about the next job already," so it does seem like she's staying, and I do think that she will stay because Danielle loves playing Caitlyn so much, and that is evident through the fact that she literally promotes the show more than any cast member on the show. So I am confident that Danielle will stay, but again, I'm not entirely sure. But the same cannot be said for Joe, Cisco, and Wells. You would assume Tom Cavanagh would also stay since Wells is literally coming back this season. But for Joe, you guys already know I had this theory saying that he could potentially be killed off sometime this season. but again, I don't know. He could end up maybe retiring, as the synopsis at the end of the day does say. Joe and Cisco make some life-altering decisions, so I don't know about Joe, but maybe he could be like retiring or something. But then this season is definitely Cisco's last season. I think he will be leaving the show after episode 12, so he won't even complete the whole season. Now, the reason I'm assuming that Cisco will not be staying for the whole season but will be leaving after episode 12 is that because this synopsis is during episode 10. But the thing is, episodes 10 and 11 are two-parters. So if Cisco is in one of the parts, he's definitely in the second part. But then, episode 12, when that comes around, the episode title for episode 12 is Goodbye Vibrations, and that does ring bells towards Cisco, so I think episode 12 will be the last we see of Cisco. Now, Joe West leaving the show can also be a possibility over here as well, but saying that Chester and Allegra have also been up to a series regular for season 7 and also season 8, it looks like Cisco will be leaving, as Chester will kind of seem like a replacement to Cisco. And I think we will be seeing a second character leave as well. And I would say that this is between Caitlin and Joe, but I guess we would just have to wait and see. I definitely don't see Caitlin leaving, but I could be very wrong about this. Now, by the way, I'm not saying that I want these characters to go. Joe is my third favorite character on the show, and Cisco is up there as well. But I just think that this will be their last season. Now, if this is true, it will suck that we will be seeing some of the OGs go, but if you guys have noticed, they have actually been experimenting with this for a while. There were often episodes without Cisco and maybe even Joe, for example. Episode 1, for instance, that was an episode without Cisco and Caitlin, and we had none of the OGs being there besides Wells and Barry. You could say Joe was there for like a bit, but he doesn't really count. He was at CCPD doing his own thing. But in regards to the Team Flash stuff, all we had were Barry, Chester, Allegra, and Wells. And that was one of the best episodes of the season. And it did keep Team Flash very condensed as well. So although it will be sad to see one of our favorite characters go, if not more of our favorite OG characters go, I really don't think this will affect the quality of the show, apart from seeing our favorite characters leave. Chester is an awesome character, and so many people began to love him by season 7. Allegra still needs some work, but she can definitely be up there eventually as well. Personally, I think Caitlin and Wells will still be staying beyond season 7, but Joe and Cisco will be a whole new story. Now, you guys have to take into account that if Joe and Cisco leave, that would mean that Camilla and Cecile would have to go as well, and this would further cut down the cast and keeping it more condensed with Team Flash, which is also a positive side. But maybe for season 8 they may add in Bart Allen and Nora West Allen as a series regular once again. I'm not entirely sure about that, but the show has suffered with too many Team Flash characters in the past, and I think them condensing it a little bit will be great. But if these characters were to actually leave, like Cisco and Joe, it would be sad to see them go, but also I cannot wait to see the changes they will make as well. But yeah guys, thanks for watching. If you guys have enjoyed the video, please give a like and subscribe. Tell me in the comment section down below which characters do you guys think will be having their lasts this season. And yeah, I will see you guys in my next video.